Hey Ron, it's Jeffrey Reddick. Thank you so much for letting me do this interview audibly. I'm so swamped with writing and interviews and podcasts and stuff that sitting down to write answers would just take hours and hours that I don't have. So I will try to be as succinct as possible with my answers. But thank you so much for asking me to be part of your horror month interview. So. You know what? First question, what inspired me to get into the world of entertainment? I've known since I was a kid that I wanted to be in entertainment. One of my neighbors told me when I was 9 that she asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I said I wanted to be a movie star. So I've always known from a young age. I grew up very poor in Eastern Kentucky, and for me, books and movies and TV were a fantasy, a means of like fantasizing a world, a limitless world out there. Like that's what Hollywood and films and TV provided me with as a child, is like that the world is limitless, and that I could do anything I wanted to with my life. And that's why I love this field so much. My first paid gig in the industry was actually, I was hired when I was very young to write a sequel for Pumpkinhead 2, which was Pumpkinhead was a cult classic back in the 80s. And the lesson I learned is not to take rejection personally, because I was hired to write a script and another writer was hired to write a script as well. And my script was a direct sequel, and the other script was kind of reimagining the whole Pumpkinhead world. And they ended up going with the other script. So as heartbroken as I was, because I love the property and I love the script that I wrote, I kind of had to shake it off and keep going, because I couldn't let that rejection defeat me. So I think the best lesson I learned was just to keep persevering. What I think makes the horror genre special. I've given this a lot of thought over the years, and I really believe that one of the reasons that horror films have always done so well and have always, touched people around the world is, I think on a basic level, watching a scary movie, especially in a theater, but even at home, allows people to get out, a lot of their fears and in a safe environment. Like, in our society, we're told that being afraid is a sign of weakness, especially in men. And I think horror movies, like when you go to see it in the theater, it gives people this kind of cathartic release where they can go and they can scream in a crowd and they can be scared, and then the lights come on and everything's okay. So I think that on a basic level, that I think it kind of serves as cathartic entertainment, much in a way that comedies do with laughter. But, I think the difference is, we're told that we're supposed to laugh, and everybody's okay with laughter. But again, you're not supposed to show fear because it's seen as being weak. Yes, it has been 20 years since the first Final Destination came out. I think what really set this franchise apart is the fact that we had a horror movie that kind of had a slasher setup, but the slasher was death. So we didn't actually have a physical killer in the film. So I think that's made it unique at the time. But I think what we did that was very crucial is we never showed death, or we never put any kind of religious connotations on death. So people from cultures and religions all around the world could kind of project their own belief system onto this movie without it kind of tripping up over what they'd been raised to believe or what they believed. And I think that's why it's actually been as successful internationally as it has been domestically. And I think it's because we never put a face or a religion on death. It's just a force, and everybody in the world can relate to that, because I think no matter where you come from or what you believe, we all know that death is inevitable. That's depressing. My favorite scary movie of all time is the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I saw it at a formative age, and it took I liked horror before Nightmare on Elm Street, but then I became obsessed with horror after Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think it's a brilliant movie with a wonderful concept, great themes, great set pieces, and one of the smartest final girls in horror history. I have to give a special nod to, I love Freddy Krueger. He's a great villain and scary as hell. But, Nancy Thompson was really the first really proactive final girl in a horror film. Like, she didn't just run away from Freddy and then stab him when she was cornered. Like, she came up with a plan. She booby-trapped the house. She went into the nightmare. She pulled him out, and she beat him up. So I think there were a lot of things that made that movie iconic.